Visual. Extreme close-up on a single raindrop tracing a path down a pane of glass. Through the distorted glass, the neon glow of a vast, futuristic cityscape is visible. The colors are muted, desaturated blues and cold whites. The sound is just the gentle, melancholic patter of rain and a low, ambient hum. There is a particular kind of paralysis that belongs only to us. To our time. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of ambition. It's the opposite. It's the quiet, screaming anxiety of infinite potential. Visual. The camera slowly pulls back, revealing a figure sitting alone in a minimalist, high-tech apartment. They are silhouetted against the window, their face illuminated only by the glow of a holographic screen floating before them. The screen is a chaotic cascade of images, text, and video feeds. I call it the ghost in the feed. It's that feeling you get, deep in the night, when you've been scrolling for hours, a ghost in your own life. You are a witness to a billion different realities, a billion different selves you could be, and in the face of all that choice, you are nothing. You do nothing. Visual. The figure on screen makes a subtle gesture, and the holographic screen vanishes, plunging the room into near darkness. The only light is the cold city glow from the window. The camera pushes in slowly on their silhouette. This video is a map out of that paralysis. By the end of our time together, you will not only understand the source of this existential terror, you will be armed with a philosophical framework to navigate the vast, infinite net, and in doing so, reclaim the ghost of yourself that has been lost in the feed. Visual. A montage of quick cuts, all from a first-person perspective. Opening a laptop. The screen floods with notifications. Typing a search query. An avalanche of results appears. Scrolling endlessly through social media feeds filled with hyper-successful people, beautiful places, political outrage, and niche hobbies. The audio is a disorienting mix of notification sounds, snippets of video, and a rising, anxious drone. You know the feeling. It begins with a simple intention. I'm going to learn a new skill. Or, I'll just see what's happening in the world. You open a portal, and the entire history of human knowledge, art, and opinion rushes in to meet you. Visual. The montage settles on a single, long shot from behind a person's shoulder. They are sitting at their desk, staring at a search results page for how to start investing. There are dozens of links. The only 5 stocks you need: Beginner's Guide to Crypto, Why Index Funds Are for Fools, How I Became a Millionaire in 6 Months. The person's hand hovers over the mouse, but doesn't click. They look frozen. And you freeze. The freedom is absolute, and so the paralysis is absolute. Every article you read contradicts the last. Every path you could take is presented as the one true way, and simultaneously, a fatal mistake. You feel a strange kind of vertigo, a dizziness that comes from standing on a cliff with a million branching paths below, all of them disappearing into fog. Visual. Close up on the person's face, reflected in the dark screen. Their expression is one of exhaustion and subtle despair. The reflection is ghost-like, transparent. This isn't just about wasting time. This is a deeper, more corrosive process. The hidden cost of this paralysis isn't the skill you didn't learn or the book you didn't read. The hidden cost is yourself. You see, your identity, your very sense of who you are, is built on the choices you make. On the commitments you forge. But when you are presented with infinite choice, you commit to nothing. You merely consume. You absorb. You become a curated collection of inputs. A passive reflection of the data stream. Visual. The screen reflection flickers and distorts, as if it's a glitching hologram. You think you are the one watching the feed, but the feed is the one building you. It flattens your personality into a set of predictable data points. It files down your sharp edges, your eccentricities, your contradictions, until you are a smooth, frictionless profile, perfectly optimized for engagement. You are not a person. You are a demographic. This is the terror of the ghost in the feed. It's the slow, quiet realization that you are disappearing. That your own consciousness is becoming a ghost, haunting a machine that was built to connect us, but has instead left us profoundly, terrifyingly alone with everything. Visual. The scene shifts dramatically. We are now seeing iconic, beautifully rendered shots inspired by the 1995 film Ghost in the Shell. Major Kusanagi floating weightlessly in the water. Her cybernetic body being assembled. Her standing on a skyscraper, looking down at a sprawling, rain-slicked city. The atmosphere is heavy, contemplative. To find our way out of this maze, we must turn to a ghost from another time. A ghost of fiction who grappled with this exact crisis a quarter of a century before it became our daily reality. Her name is Major Motoko Kusanagi. Visual. A slow-motion shot of Kusanagi diving from the skyscraper into the city below. Kusanagi is a full-body cyborg. Her consciousness, her ghost, resides in a cybernetic brain, housed in a completely artificial body. She has no definitive memories of her past, no concrete proof that the self she experiences is truly her own. She constantly asks herself, am I real? Or am I just a collection of parts and copied data, a ghost in a shell? Her struggle is our struggle, magnified. Visual. We see the puppet master, represented as a glitching, ethereal form made of code and light, moving through digital networks. Her foil is a being known as the puppet master, an artificial intelligence that was born spontaneously within the network. It has no body, no history, no limits. It is pure consciousness, adrift in the infinite ocean of data. It is everything, and therefore, it is nothing. The dialogue between these two beings gives us the key to escaping our own digital paralysis. It's a philosophy built on three foundational recognitions. Visual. A shot of Kusanagi looking at her own reflection in a shop window. Her reflection seems to look back with a different expression. First, the illusion of the static self. You feel paralyzed because you are searching for the real you. The one authentic path, the one true passion, the one perfect identity that you are supposed to discover, like finding a treasure. Kusanagi teaches us this treasure does not exist. The self is not a static object to be found. It is a dynamic process to be created. Her anxiety about her own memories, her own reality, is a profound insight. The past does not define you. Your essence is not behind you. It is in front of you. The search for a true self is a trap in an age where the self can be edited, augmented, and performed in 1,000 different ways. You must abandon the search. Visual. An abstract visual of a vast, calm, endless ocean of digital code. A single point of light, representing a user, is adrift in the center, unable to move in any direction. Second, the tyranny of unbounded potential. The internet promises a godlike state, omniscience, omnipresence. You can know anything, be anywhere, become anyone. This is the state the puppet master exists in. And it is a living hell. As a being of pure data with no limits, it has no definition. It cannot change, it cannot grow, it cannot die. It has no unique identity. Its freedom is so absolute that it is a prison. This is why it desperately seeks to merge with Kusanagi. It seeks a body. It seeks limitations. It seeks an end. Because it is only through limits, through the finitude of a body, the constraint of a single life, that a unique identity can be forged. Meaning is impossible without boundaries. Visual. A powerful shot of Kusanagi physically tearing her own cybernetic arm off in a desperate fight. It is an act of brutal, focused will. And this leads to the third and most crucial principle, creation through action. If the self is not found, but made, and if it is made through limits, then the ultimate act of self-creation is the deliberate, decisive act. Kusanagi's journey is not one of introspection, it is one of action. She dives, she fights, she breaks her own body, her shell, in pursuit of her goal. Her identity isn't solidified when she's thinking, but when she is doing. In the philosophy of existentialism, this is the core tenet. Existence precedes essence. You are not what you think, or feel, or believe. You are what you do. Visual. We see a sculptor standing before a massive, formless block of marble. The room is dark, the marble is infinite, stretching up into the shadows. The sculptor looks overwhelmed. Think of yourself as a sculptor, and the internet is an infinite block of marble. You can carve absolutely anything from it. This is a terrifying thought. The paralysis you feel is the sculptor staring at the infinite block, unable to make the first cut, because to make one cut is to destroy a billion other potential sculptures. Visual. The sculptor takes a deep breath, raises their chisel, and strikes the marble. A single, sharp crack echoes. A chip of marble falls away. A line has been created where there was none. But the solution is not to stare longer. The solution is to choose. To strike. The moment you make that first cut, the terror of the infinite begins to recede. You have imposed a limit. You have made a decision. And in that act of limitation, a form, a self, begins to emerge from the void. Your freedom is not in the infinite potential. Your freedom is in the cut. Visual. The scene returns to the minimalist apartment. The lighting is slightly warmer, more focused. The camera is steady. The tone shifts from philosophical to instructional. This is not just abstract philosophy. It is a practical strategy for survival in the digital age. It is a way to stop being the ghost in the feed and become the architect of your own shell. Here is how you begin to make your cut. 4 concrete techniques. Visual. Text on screen. 1. Declare your constraints. The visuals show a person decisively dragging dozens of browser tabs into the trash. They uninstall apps from their phone. They physically unplug a router. 1. Declare your constraints. The antidote to infinite freedom is a chosen prison. You are overwhelmed by choice, so you must ruthlessly eliminate it. For the next 30 days, choose one thing. One skill to learn. One book to read. One project to build. And then, digitally amputate everything else. Unsubscribe from the newsletters. Mute the channels. Use a site blocker to wall off the rest of the internet. You are not limiting your freedom, you're creating the necessary conditions for it. You are building the walls of your monastery, not to keep the world out, but to give your true self a quiet room to finally speak. Visual. Text on screen. 2. Practice informational asceticism. The visuals show a stark contrast. First, a person passively scrolling, their face slack and illuminated by the blue light. Then, the same person at the same desk, but they are actively writing in a notebook, sketching on a tablet, or speaking into a microphone. They are focused, engaged. 2. Practice informational asceticism. An ascetic is one who denies worldly pleasures for spiritual discipline. Your practice will be to deny the pleasure of passive consumption. For 1 hour each day, just one, commit to creating more than you consume. Write 1 page. Draw 1 sketch. Record 2 minutes of your thoughts. Code 10 lines. The quality is irrelevant. The act is everything. A consumer is a reflection. A creator is a source. This practice rewires your relationship with information. You cease to be a ghost haunting the machine and begin to upload your own ghost into it. Visual. Text on screen. 3. Perform an identity audit. A split screen. On the left, a chaotic feed of algorithmically suggested content. On the right, a carefully curated list of subscriptions and bookmarks, all centered around a clear theme like sustainable architecture or Renaissance philosophy. 3. Perform an identity audit. Your digital environment is the architecture of your mind. Tonight, open your subscriptions, your history, your feed. Hold each piece of content up to the light and ask a single, brutal question. Is this building a self I am consciously choosing, or is it feeding a self that an algorithm wants me to be? This is not about judging your tastes. It is about intentionality. Does it challenge you or placate you? Does it inspire creation or envy? Based on your answers, make one deliberate change. Unfollow one account that makes you feel lesser. Follow one that makes you feel curious. This is the act of digital gardening. You must weed out what is choking your growth to make room for what you want to become. Visual. Text on screen. 4. Embrace the dive. The visual returns to Kusanagi's iconic dive. We see her falling, the city lights rushing up to meet her. It is an act of total commitment in the face of absolute uncertainty. And finally, number 4. Embrace the dive. In the film, Kusanagi's dive is a literal and metaphorical leap of faith. It is an act of committing to the unknown. Your paralysis is born from a desire for certainty, a need to know the outcome before you act. You must abandon this need. Identify one small dive you can take this week. It is a decision you have been deferring out of fear of the unknown. Publishing that first blog post. Sending that application. Having that difficult conversation. The goal is not to guarantee success. The goal is to act in the absence of a guarantee. The dive is the ultimate expression of your freedom, because it is a declaration that you trust your ability to navigate the fall more than you fear the uncertainty of the abyss. Visual. The final scene from Ghost in the Shell. Kusanagi, now in a new, smaller body, looks out over the city. She has merged with the puppet master. She is something new. Does this work? Does this radical acceptance of limitation and action actually lead to freedom? For proof, we need only look at the end of Kusanagi's journey. She is faced with the ultimate choice. Remain as she is, a limited being forever searching for a past that may not exist, or merge with the limitless puppet master and become something entirely new and undefined. She doesn't hesitate. She chooses the dive. She merges. Visual. Close up on Kusanagi's face. Her expression is calm, serene, and confident. In the final moments, her partner Batu asks her where she will go now. And she speaks the line that contains the entire philosophy of our age. She looks out at the sprawling network of the city and says, "The net is vast and infinite." Notice the change. For her, this is no longer a source of terror or confusion. It is a statement of profound and exhilarating freedom. She has stopped trying to find her identity within the vastness. By making a definitive, transformative choice, she has earned the right to create her identity within it. She is no longer a ghost in a shell. She is a free agent, a new consciousness ready to explore the infinite territory she now calls home. Visual. The visuals transition from the anime to real-world imagery. Archival footage of Jean-Paul Sartre in a Parisian café. Modern psychological diagrams illustrating analysis paralysis. This is not science fiction. This is the core insight of the 20th century philosophy of existentialism, perfectly translated for the 21st. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said that we are condemned to be free. He meant that, without a god or a preordained nature to tell us who to be, we are burdened and blessed with the total responsibility of creating ourselves through our choices. Psychologists today have given a clinical name to our modern version of this problem: the paradox of choice. Studies by Barry Schwartz and others have empirically proven that beyond a certain point, more options do not lead to more happiness or better decisions. They lead to anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. Visual. The visual logic connects the dots. An image of the infinite internet, an image of Sartre, and an image of Kusanagi are linked together on screen. The logic is inescapable. A being without limits has no definition. The puppet master, an entity of pure potential, knew this and sought limits. We, who are drowning in a sea of digital potential, must learn the same lesson. We must turn towards conscious, self-imposed limitation not as an act of deprivation, but as the supreme act of self-creation. You must choose your shell to give your ghost a home. Visual. We return to the figure in the apartment, looking out at the city. The rain has stopped. The first light of dawn is breaking over the horizon, casting a cool, clear light on the scene. The figure stands up and walks purposefully towards the door, no longer a silhouette but a defined person. The net is vast and infinite. This is not a curse. It is an invitation. It is the raw material from which you will sculpt a self. The paralysis ends when you pick up the chisel, when you make the first cut. So I leave you with a question. The internet offers us infinite masks. Infinite potential selves. In the comments below, tell me, what is one mask you choose to wear, and what is one you are trying to take off? What part of your digital self feels authentic, and what part feels like a performance for the algorithm? Visual. The digital ghost channel logo appears on screen, a simple, elegant icon that suggests a glitching human silhouette. If you believe that philosophy is not a relic of the past, but a necessary tool for navigating our shared future, then you have found your signal in the noise. Subscribe to Digital Ghost, and join the conversation. Visual. A thumbnail for another video appears on screen with the title, The Immortality Trap. Why a world without death would be hell. Kusanagi's journey was about redefining the limits of her identity. But our technology is beginning to promise a future free from the ultimate limit, death itself. To continue this exploration into the existential consequences of our creations, your next session should be our deep dive into the philosophy of immortality. Click the video on your screen now. The Immortality Trap. Why a world without death would be hell.